Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Going to be looking at another frog kit today. This is the 1970 frog kit of the Gloster Meteor F.Mk.IV. This is kit number F200 in 1/72 scale. And we've got box art by a gentleman by the name of F.Mk.IV. And the Meteor F.Mk.IV was a post-war development of the Meteor. They're trying to get more out of it than what they got with the earlier Mark I and Mark IIIs. Main differences are the engines were swapped out for Rolls-Royce Derwent 5s, which were centrifugal engines with 3,500 pounds of thrust. They were basically scaled down Neens, and in addition to that, there was some strengthening to the fuselage. The wings were shortened a little bit. The engine nacelles were made longer and a little narrower, so the cord was changed on them to decrease drag. Interesting thing that I found out when I was doing my research is that the outside, or the lip on the intake is actually wood. Which surprised me. It's a hardwood that's painted silver. The cockpit was pressurized on the Mark IV, but there was no ejection seat equipped on it. A total of 489 were built by Gloster and 46 by Armstrong Whitworth. The Dutch, the Netherlands Air Force, the Koninklijk Luchtmacht, I think that's how you say that, ordered 34 in 1947 to be the first jet aircraft for the Dutch Air Force, the Royal Dutch Air Force, and they were first delivered in 1948 to number 1 fighter squadron. That squadron became 323 Squadron. Once NATO was developed, the Dutch squadrons were renumbered. An additional 27 came from ex-RAF stock in 1950. Later on, the Dutch Air Force got 160 Mark 8s that were built by Fokker. So they set up their own production line, and they built them for themselves and also for the Belgians. Additional squadrons that were equipped for the Dutch were 322 with the squadron coding of 3W, 323 with squadron coding of Y9, 324 3P, 325 was 4R, 326 was 9I, 327 was 7E, and 328 was 8S. In August, 28th of August of 1949, the squadron leader for 323 Squadron, Jan Flinterman, set a official Dutch speed record of 953.1 kilometers an hour, or 592.2 miles per hour, and that was done in one of the 323 aircraft coded Y97. So let's take a look a little bit more at our kit here. So we've got this great artwork on the cover here of a couple of aircraft flying over, the Dutch coast here, and the Y9 7. Oh wait, this is 8 and 9. I'm sorry, but we've got over here. This is with the red block on the side, and frog, stands for flies right off the ground. 72nd scale international assembly kit, including frog special features. Ooh. On the side here, we've got looks like photographs of completed models and the 2 different markings that came with it. Kit contains choice of transfers, and then in a bunch of different languages. On this side here, we've got your special features: 40 parts in a stand, 1 pilot, rotating main wheels, alternate undercarriage positions, and optional drop tanks. Ooh, those are all special features. And it looks like we've got French, Dutch, Swedish, German, and Italian for the instructions. Our box end here has a repeat of the top box art. There's your kit number of F.Mk.IV. Same thing on this end. This, I think, the $1.60 is probably more accurate for the pricing of this kit at the time when it was issued, not this $5. Bottom of the box has 2-3 views in color of the schemes that are coming with it. One from 323 Squadron, Royal Netherlands Air Force, and the other one from 263 Fellowship of Bellows Squadron for the RAF. You got the Rovex Triang, which is the parent company for Frog, made in Great Britain. And then when you open it up, a lot of times Frog would print additional things around the sides of the bottom. And in this case, what they've got on there is a little history of the aircraft, of the Meteor. Quite frequently you'll see on the sides here other kits available, but not in this case. So we've got our instructions printed on this kind of cheaper manila paper. And across the top, name again, how to put your model together, telling you what these different symbols are. Fairly simple cockpit, just a seat on a floor. There's a control column, front wheel, that looks like a little bit of detail. Drop tanks, fuselage, wings, engines. Not a whole lot to this. And then your stand. Back side is occupied with a whole bunch of top model tips. So this reference is using the model tray, which was the fold open boxes that we've seen on some of these Frog kits. So here's your instructions. And then here we have our decals to match up with these, with the 3 views. So this first one here is for the Royal Netherlands Air Force, 1950, 323 Squadron, it's Y98. So doing some research on this, out of the Mark IVs that the Dutch received, this Y98 was utilized on 3 aircraft. One was coded as I-38, construction number G0522, delivered on 6th of February 1950, and was written off in a crash in Jesselum on 6th of June of 1950. Another one was Dutch serial numbered I-50, and that was construction number G05234. And that was delivered on 2 June of 49, and that was written off in another incident on 7 June of 57. And then finally one that was serial numbered as I-62. That was one of the ones that was handed over from RAF stock. Originally was VZ388, and that was delivered on 7 February of 50. And that one was retired out of service in 57. So this Y98 could be any one of those 3 aircraft. And unfortunately, I was not able to find any photographs specifically of Y98, but there are some images of some of the other squadron aircraft. So I'll include those in the photographs in a moment. And then this one here is the 263 Squadron one. That's the RAF one with the code of VT-328, and that was a Mark IV that was delivered on 8 November of 48. It was assigned to 263 Squadron, 611, 206 Advanced Flight School, 203 Advanced Flight School, and then number 8 Fighter Training School, or Squadron, I'm sorry, not school. So, appears that the 263 Squadron, I believe, may have been the first squadron it was assigned to. In April, or 26th of April, 55, the aircraft had the undercarriage collapse after overrunning the runway at RAF Driftfield in East Yorkshire, which was where the 8th Fighter Training Squadron was. The aircraft was deemed to be damaged beyond repair and was written off. There were no injuries in that accident. I'm going to guess by the date 55 and this Mark IV aircraft, the plane probably wasn't damaged terribly, but the aircraft is obsolete by this point, so that probably influenced it just being written off from that. So that's a little history on that. No images of this aircraft, but I'll show you some of these Dutch ones. All right, so let's take a look at our plastic here. First tree, fuselage and some drop tanks. So let's look at our fuselage half here. So this has got pretty much all raised panel lines, with the exception of some engraved lining for the rudder. There's some raised lines to represent, I think it's a fabric covered tail on this by now. I think this is a metal covered rear. We've got our gun ports here, but they're solid. We've got representation like a gun sight, I guess, up on the top. And nothing in the wheel well, so just blank, at least it's not open. And nothing on the interior. There's our pilot seat. Drop tanks, pretty simple. And there's where these go inside the engine intake. The wing went through the intake area there, the main spar. There's our stand. So our other half fuselage, pretty much the same thing again. Nothing on the inside. So here's our gear. There's our main or nose wheel, and then our main gear. Those are kind of nicely done. Control column, antenna mast, and this is a conformal fuel tank that went on the belly. Wheels and tires aren't too bad. No tread or anything on them, but a little bit of a dimple in there. And then we have our wings. So these are the bottom halves. Representation of speed brakes right there. But it's all pretty fine raised panel lining. Vertical part of our stand. These are some gear door parts. Fairly simple. Some ejector pin marks on the back side of those. And then here's the top half of our wings. You can really see the elongated nacelles for the F.Mk.IV and clipped wings on these. Some more gear covers. There's our cockpit floor. I think this is for if you're going to do the gear up. So it's nice to give them to you that way so you don't have to jimmy them in there. And here's our top wing here. Again, raised, fairly fine lines for raised panel lines. And then we do have some engraved for the ailerons. But there's no, aside from that fillet piece in here for the spar, there's really no engine detail or anything. There's nothing for the interior of the gear wells. Here's our tails, horizontal surfaces, molded as one piece, fairly thin at the edge, and engraved panel lining for that. And what else we got in here? One of the gear doors. Here's our canopy. Not too bad. It's thinner than the usual earlier Frog stuff. We've got fairly well-defined raised framing on it. It's some blemish on here. I think it's probably from kicking around in the box. Quite a bit of distortion to it, though. But passable. And then finally our crew figure, who's looking really minute. So, oops. So there he is. And there you have it. So, fairly basic kit, but from what I've read, the lines are pretty accurate. Yeah, it gives a pretty good representation of the Mark IV, especially at the time that this kit came out. This was the second Frog kit of the Meteor. The previous one was one of their 50s issue of the Mark VIII that was even simpler than this. So this was a nice addition to their lineup. But surprisingly, this kit was not issued that much. Unlike almost all of the Frog kits, they get kicked around all over the world and are still being issued in some cases. This is one that has got hardly any issues. So this is a somewhat desirable kit. Of course, there's some more modern kits that are a lot nicer, but for this time period, this is a pretty decent little kit. So you have this original 1970 Frog one. At the same time, Frog had that deal going with Hasegawa where they were swapping kits and badging them under or boxing them under their own labels. So in 1970, Hasegawa did an issue of this kit as well with new artwork, but the same markings. There was another issue from Frog with the full white box. So the box art extends the whole way, and you get a little white outline around the outside. That was in 74, and then, Frog goes belly up shortly after that. So we did get one issue out of Novo in 79, and then another issue in the 80s from a company called Tashigushka, and it's some really primitive looking box and box art. And I believe that was in Uzbek, at the time was still part of the Soviet Union, I believe, but then later broke off and became Uzbekistan. And then there was a 1990 issue under the name of Semerg, which I believe is the same company. I think that this Tashigushka changed names and became Simmerg. And that's it. So I don't know if the molds got sent to this company and then they end up getting lost. But unlike most of these frog kits that end up going all over the place, you get 10, 15, 20, 30 different issues from these things. This frog kit only has a couple. And so that's about it for this guy. If you've built one of these, definitely tell us about it in the comment section. If you got one still sitting on your shelf, take a picture of it, send it in for the next viewer build video. And that's all for today. So thanks for watching and have yourself a great rest of your day.